Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Soul Land 2 Peerless Tang Men based on novel. So let's start. The height of the highest mountain peak in the Mingdo mountain range must have had fallen by at least 100 meters. There was a huge depression at the top of the mountain, and this depression was filled with smaller craters. Even though the clash was already over, the entire mountain was still engulfed by strong soul power undulations. Occasionally, the cries of avenging spirits could be heard as well. Yuhao. Shusansha immediately spotted Huo Yuhao lying in the center of the huge depression and rushed towards him. Everyone from Shrek Academy did the same. The earlier clash at the top of this mountain was too intense. They had no idea what had happened, but the Death God Pagoda had vanished at this moment. The Death God Doluor had also disappeared, and only Huo Yuhao remained. After the flashes of red light earlier, the soul engineers of the Sun Moon Empire quickly fled, after being momentarily shocked. They left with whatever soul tools they could bring with them. Although more than 10 titled Doluor from the Star Luo Empire were here, their advantage in numbers didn't give them an advantage. A combined attack from many soul tools would still threaten them greatly. Seeing that their enemies had fled, they naturally didn't pursue them. Victory. If they had really achieved victory, it was a victory that belonged to the 20 of them. And amongst them, Huo Yuhao had played the most critical role. When all the titled Doluor witnessed the Death God Doluor's immense abilities, they were all shocked. They clearly knew that they couldn't overcome such a powerful enemy even with their numerical advantage. Moreover, Yi Shishui had the Death God Pagoda to rely on. If they continued fighting, they would have all been decimated. However, it was at that moment when Huo Yuhao's unexplained power managed to resist the Death God Doluor. They didn't witness the fighting process, but the final result did sort of indicate that Huo Yuhao hadn't lost. The Death God Doluor and Death God Pagoda had disappeared, and the Sun Moon Empire's soul engineers had retreated too. This meant that the Mingdo mountain range had been won back. To the Star Luo Empire, this was extremely important. With the Mingdo mountain range falling back into the hands of the Star Luo Empire, the Sun Moon Empire would find it very difficult to reclaim it again and reinvade the Star Luo Empire. Furthermore, the Sun Moon Empire lacked leadership right now. Now that the Star Luo Empire had overcome their first defensive line, it was time for them to make further headway. All the titled Doluor were excited right now, but everyone from Shrek Academy looked very serious. When they surrounded Huo Yuhao, they only saw how blood-soaked his clothes were. Blood was oozing from all his pores, and his aura had become very weak. They couldn't even sense any soul power undulations from him. Shusansha looked very serious, and squatted down beside Huo Yuhao. He carefully placed his hand on his chest to sense Huo Yuhao's condition. After a brief moment, he furrowed his brow and stood up. "How is he, third senior?" Yi Gai asked anxiously. Tears were already forming in her eyes. Even though she had already suppressed her feelings for Huo Yuhao, she still felt that she was about to experience an emotional outburst upon seeing that he was seriously wounded and on the verge of death. Shusansha solemnly replied, "Not good. Little Junior's life aura is very weak, and his heartbeat is so slow it's almost undetectable. He might die at any moment. Yuhao, wake up." Yuhao. Yi Gai squatted down beside Huo Yuhao and started sobbing as she pleaded for him to regain consciousness. Ji Juechen also furrowed his brow. "Is there no other way?" Shusansha shook his head and said, "I did a preliminary check on his condition, and it seems like all his passageways have been broken. They even seem to be seriously damaged. I don't even dare to touch him right now." Jingxian was the calmest among all of them. She immediately turned around and faced all the titled Duluos, asking, "Elders, which one of you is adept at healing? Please take a look at Yuhao. He's in very bad condition." At this moment, all of the titled Doluor were jolted from their excitement, and quickly surrounded Huo Yuhao. However, all of these titled Doluor that were chosen for this mission were adept at attacking. None of them was adept at healing. After checking Huo Yuhao's condition, all of them came to the same conclusion as Shusansha. Huo Yuhao was in very bad condition. All his passageways were seriously injured. If it was someone else with such serious injuries, he would have died. However, there was some kind of special force in his body that was helping him hang on. The circulation of his blood seemed to have stopped completely, apart from a small region around his heart. As for his soul power, it had long disappeared. At this moment, all the titled Doluo were helpless. The Shattered Star Doluo said, Yuhao's injury is very serious. Let's not touch him for now. Let's go and rendezvous with the army first. Giant Hammer, make a trip back and immediately ask the marshal to send a healing-type Soul Master over. I'll stand guard here. All right. The Giant Hammer Doluo acknowledged his words and turned around before flying away. Huo Yuhao had made an important contribution this time, by helping to reclaim the Mingdo mountain range. Even these arrogant title Doluo were in awe of him. They were also very shocked by the secret force in him that was keeping him alive. Even without saying anything, they knew that he had borrowed some kind of strength that didn't belong to him to fight the death god Doluo, scaring her away. His body was seriously wounded, because he couldn't handle such great power in his body. All of the title Doluo thought that it was no mean feat that Huo Yuhao could preserve his life. He was dealing with a powerful force that could resist an ultimate Doluo. Even titled Doluo like them weren't confident of remaining alive, if they had to deal with such a powerful force. Tang Wutong also stood beside Huo Yuhao. She didn't wail as pitifully as Yi Gai. She only stood where she was, looking a little dazed. The scene of Huo Yuhao exchanging places with her when the light of Death God descended on her earlier kept on repeating itself in her mind. She kept on asking herself this question: if it were me, would I be capable of doing the same thing? Huo Yuhao. Tang Wutong knew that this name had been permanently imprinted in her mind right now. The healing-type Soul Master team arrived at almost the same time as the Soul Master Legion that was here to reclaim the mountain range. Everyone was shocked that the White Tiger Duke had personally come, and even brought along a healing-type titled Doluo. There were also about 16 other healing-type Soul Masters with them. Where's Yuhao? The White Tiger Duke led this large group of healing-type Soul Masters as they descended from the sky. The first thing he asked when he landed was Huo Yuhao's location. The Shattered Star Doluo's expression changed when he saw that the White Tiger Duke was personally here. It was important to know that the White Tiger Duke was very crucial to the Star Luo Empire's military. If the Death God Doluo returned, they would be unable to protect him at all. Duke, you. The White Tiger Duke lifted his hand and stopped the Shattered Star Doluo from speaking any further. Of course he understood what the Shattered Star Doluo meant. He said, it's more important to save this life first. We can leave the rest for later. Shu Sansha, Jiang Nan and the rest quickly came up to receive him. The White Tiger Duke led the healing-type Soul Masters to Huo Yuhao under their guidance. The healing-type titled Doluo was an elder with white hair and a wrinkled face. It was impossible to tell her actual age. When she arrived in front of Huo Yuhao, she lifted her right hand and a streak of dim green light instantly turned into a barrier of light that engulfed him. Duke, you must save Yuhao. Shu Sanshi's voice started to tremble slightly. Don't worry, I'll try my best. Yuhao is a great servant to our empire. The White Tiger Duke said without any hesitation. Earlier, he could only see the explosions of light that had blossomed from the top of the mountain. When they first started, he started to tense up. Without a doubt, Huo Yuhao had already been discovered. Being discovered was an unavoidable consequence of the plan. The key lay in whether Huo Yuhao was able to free all the title Doluo after being discovered. Therefore, the most important thing to take note of was the amount of time the explosions lasted for. Huo Yuhao didn't disappoint him. The lights didn't disappear, and even larger explosions ensued. At that point, the White Tiger Duke was already ready to command his entire military to fight. After that, the White Tiger Duke saw terrifying red light flashing at the top of the mountain. The black light that Huo Yuhao had released wasn't very clear against the night sky. However, the White Tiger Duke was astonished when he saw that the mountain had collapsed slightly. Huo Yuhao had succeeded. Even without any signal, the White Tiger Duke had already given the order to attack. The giant hammer Doluo returned not long after that, and relayed news that Huo Yuhao had been seriously wounded. For some unknown reason, the White Tiger Duke felt his heart constricting after learning that Huo Yuhao had been seriously hurt. He ignored Princess Jiuzhou's attempt to stop him and personally led a team of healing-type soul masters to save him. He only had one thought in his mind: save Huo Yuhao at all costs. Such a talent was simply too important to the Star Luo Empire. Besides his desire to save a generational talent, the White Tiger Duke didn't realize that deep down in his heart, there was some kind of unexplained attachment that was growing. Even he himself wasn't clear what it was. His concern for Huo Yuhao had already surpassed the sort of brotherly love he had for his own subordinates. Yi Gai clenched her fists tightly and prayed to herself. Nan Qiuqiu also clasped her hands together in front of her chest, and was reciting something to herself. The White Tiger Duke softly said, "Yuhao will be fine. Don't worry. This person performing the healing on Yuhao is the Hallmaster of the Star Luo Empire's Imperial Shrine. She's a titled Doluo. As long as someone is still breathing, she can save him. Perhaps all of you have heard of her before. Her name is Wang Xiana." After hearing the words Wang Xiana, Shusansha was the first to react. His body shook a little before there was a surprised look on his face. He probed, "Are you talking about the immortal Dr. Doluo Wang Xiana?" The White Tiger Duke nodded gently. Shusansha heaved a huge sigh of relief and explained to the rest, "Elder Wang Xiana is the world's top healing-type soul master. Even Elder Zhuang from our academy is inferior to Elder Wang. Elder Zhuang even mentioned that Elder Wang is the world's strongest healing-type soul master. Her martial soul is the healing angel." Healing-type and food-type soul masters found it more difficult to become titled Doluo compared to assault-type soul masters. This was because fighting helped to stimulate the potential of soul masters, but healing-type and food-type soul masters hardly fought. They could only rely on cultivation and the accumulation of experience to slowly improve. As a result, there were only a few of them who could become titled Doluo. As for Transcendent Doluo, there were hardly any of them who made it. This immortal Dr. Doluo Wang Xiana was one of these rare healing-type Transcendent Doluo. She was probably the most important trump card of the entire Star Luo Empire, and the Hallmaster of the Star Luo Empire's Imperial Shrine. She was only inferior to another Transcendent Doluo, who was the strongest individual in the Star Luo Empire. If even this miracle healer couldn't save Huo Yuhao, it meant that Huo Yuhao was really going to die. This was why Shusansha heaved a sigh of relief when he found out that she was the immortal Dr. Doluo. He had known Huo Yuhao for a long time now. He knew that Huo Yuhao's survival abilities were shocking, and he had managed to escape death many times. In terms of survivability, he was definitely the best among the members of Shrek's 7 monsters. Right now, it was almost impossible for him to die, since the immortal Dr. Doluo was around. The green light in Wang Xiana's hands slowly retracted, and she furrowed her brow slightly. The wrinkles on her face also became more evident. This little fellow's injuries are very weird. Weird? After hearing her words, everyone from Shrek Academy started to become worried. Tang Wutong immediately asked, "What's weird?" She replied, "His passageways are almost broken, especially his main passageways. His injuries are extremely serious. If I'm not wrong, there must be some kind of immense force that surged through his entire body that caused his passageways to burst. Logically speaking, his flesh should have blown apart under such conditions. There should be no way for him to still be alive. However, I'm shocked by the fact that his main organs are still fine even though his passageways are so seriously hurt. More surprisingly, his damaged passageways are all only temporarily blocked. His blood is not flowing, but stuck within these passageways. Furthermore, there's very strong life energy in his damaged passageways. They seem to be recovering on their own. It's something that I've never seen or heard of before. I think he possesses extraordinary life energy, which enables him to experience something like this. In addition, there's some kind of force protecting his body." The White Tiger Duke hurriedly asked, "What should we do then?" How can we heal him? The immortal Dr. Doluo shook her head and said, there's no need to heal him. What? Everyone exclaimed at the same time. The immortal Dr. Doluo said that there wasn't any need to heal him. Didn't this mean that Huo Yuhao was doomed? The immortal Dr. Doluo gestured and said, don't misunderstand. What I mean is that he should be able to recover, but he'll need some time. I'll stimulate some of his life energy, and try to pour in some life energy into his body. This will increase the speed of his recovery. That'll be enough. We don't have to overtreat him. At times, overtreating can cause unnecessary damage to a body. Since his self-healing abilities are already so strong, we'll just let him heal. That'll be the most beneficial to him. After hearing Wang Xiana's explanation, everyone present heaved a sigh of relief. The White Tiger Duke respectfully said, I'll need to trouble you then. Wang Xiana's eyes flashed and turned jade green. The jade green color in her eyes gave everyone a very bright and lively feeling. Following this, the immortal Dr. Doluo's body started to experience weird changes. Multiple pairs of wings started to open up behind her back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were actually 5 pairs of wings that appeared. They were all jade green too. They resembled those of Bai Ji. However, the immortal Dr. Doluo's wings were smaller than Bai Ji's wings, though there were more of them. After the appearance of each pair of wings, the life energy in the air became evidently more concentrated. After they had all appeared, the entire top of the mountain was like an ocean of life. Everyone felt abnormally relaxed and comfortable right now. The immortal Dr. Doluo was a national treasure of the Star Luo Empire. Who could ensure that one wasn't ever hurt, or never ever fell ill? She was like a goddess to the Star Luo Empire. Something strange occurred to the immortal Dr. Doluo's body. Every time a pair of wings appeared behind her, she would look younger and younger. When the 5th pair of wings appeared, she already looked as young as an 18 or 19-year-old teenager. Her eyes were bright and captivating. She possessed a beauty that was filled with life aura. Everyone felt a sense of amiability when they looked at her, and couldn't help but get closer to her. She lifted her right hand and mimicked a pressing action in Huo Yuhao's direction. Suddenly, intense green light started to gather towards Huo Yuhao's body. Huo Yuhao's body slowly lit up. Spots of green lights shone, and a gentle life aura cleansed his entire body, removing all the impurities that were still within. Streaks of black air current slowly drifted out from his body before dissipating. Huo Yuhao's body also slowly lit up with green. Evidently, he was absorbing the life aura that the immortal Dr. Doluo had exuded. Under the effect of that concentrated life energy, Huo Yuhao's own aura started to appear. His chest could also be seen rising. The young version of the immortal Dr. Doluo revealed a slight grin on her face. Right now, she was in the form of her healing angel. She kept on pouring life energy into his body, stimulating his potential. Such a healing method tackled the symptoms and root cause of the problem, which was the most advanced healing technique. It was even more effective when used by the immortal Dr. Doluo. Suddenly, Huo Yuhao's forehead lit up. A streak of jade green light suddenly appeared and slowly cracked open on his forehead. It was his eye of destiny. It was just that his eye of destiny was completely jade green right now. When that jade green light appeared, Huo Yuhao's body suddenly turned into a huge jade green whirlpool, and devoured all the life aura that the immortal Dr. Doluo released. Wang Xiana was also shocked. It is very abnormal for a soul sage to devour life energy at such a speed. What's going on? Is it that source of power that's protecting his body? Although she was shocked, she still increased the output of her life energy. She was different from ordinary soul masters. Every human and soul master had their own life energy. Once they drained too much of it, they would experience decline, and might even die as a result. However, the immortal Dr. Doluo possessed strength that could control life. She could filter life energy from the air to complete her healing. The more prosperous the life energy in at a place, the greater her powers. For example, her healing abilities would be on another level if she were in the Great Star Do Forest. If she could reach the Lake of Life where Di Tian was, her healing abilities would be at the tier of an ultimate Doluo. After sensing the changes to Huo Yuhao's body, she poured more soul power into his body. All types of life aura and elements at the top of the mountain were all infused into Huo Yuhao's body. Wang Xiana was observing Huo Yuhao's changes throughout this process. She discovered that his passageways were evidently healing faster after the jade green light appeared on his forehead. It wasn't just his passageways, every part of his body was healing rapidly. Most of the life energy actually came from his own body. Although he had absorbed a lot of life energy too, the life energy that he absorbed wasn't as pure as his own life energy. It was as if it went through a filtering process before it managed to completely fuse with his body. The soul power of a transcendent Doluo was already very dense. While Huo Yuhao was devouring her life energy very quickly, she was also rapidly gathering life energy from the air. From afar, it was clear that a huge green whirlpool had appeared at the top of the mountain. The life energy surrounding the entire mountain range was rapidly being absorbed before fusing with Huo Yuhao's body. The jade green light that Huo Yuhao's body emanated also became stronger and stronger. At the start, it was only shining from his eye of destiny, but it slowly spread to the rest of his body. Under the effect of the immense life energy, he evidently experienced a drastic change in his condition. At least his breathing became more normal and stable. Wang Xiana nodded silently. It was also her first time seeing a case like this. She quietly memorized the changes to Huo Yuhao's body. This was like a brand new experience to her. Suddenly, Huo Yuhao's body experienced changes again. He unleashed a beam of intense jade green light from his body. This beam of jade green light rapidly fused with the whirlpool and caused it to stop. After this, it started to flow in the opposite direction. Immense life energy started to pour into Wang Xiana's body. Wang Xiana was stunned for a moment first. After this, she sensed the benefits of this immense life energy. Just like she had felt before, the life energy coming from Huo Yuhao's body was extremely pure. There wasn't any form of impurity within it. It was much purer than even her own soul power. Even though this pure energy wasn't very strong compared to hers, it was like a seedling. When this pure life energy entered her body, she immediately controlled it and poured it into the core of her soul power, sealing it. At the same time, she also summoned her soul power to familiarize itself with the traits of this pure life energy. A surprised look appeared on the immortal Dr. Doluo's face. For someone at her tier, it was very difficult to improve any further, especially since she was a healing-type transcendent Doluo. It was even more difficult for her than for others. Wang Xiana was in fact like Mu Yan and Long Xiaoyao, she was a generational talent. She was the only honorary elder that remained of the Star Luo Empire. She had been protecting the empire for years. However, she was growing older and older. She was close to 200 years old now. As she grew older, she felt as if her life energy was quickly fading away. She believed she only had 10 more years to live. However, after Huo Yuhao poured that pure life energy into her body, she was offered another opportunity to make progress. Her accumulation had long been sufficient. What she lacked was enlightenment and an opportunity. The pure life energy that Huo Yuhao released presented a valuable opportunity to her. As long as she tried her best to remember the traits of the life energy that he had released and evolve her soul power according to these traits, she could enable her soul power to rise another tier. By raising her cultivation by 1 rank, she would be able to live for decades longer. Elder Mu lived until the age of 200 before he passed away. The main reason was because the injury that he sustained in his younger days was too serious. Long Xiaoyao and Yi Shishui were both still alive and well. If nothing happened, neither of them would have any problems living for more than 300 years. After a momentary surprise, Wang Xiana immediately increased her attention on Huo Yuhao. As a healer, she was very concerned about him. Furthermore, she was a very sympathetic and kind person. She definitely didn't wish him to suffer because of what she had obtained. After meticulously observing him, she was quickly relieved. Huo Yuhao was in good condition, which was better than expected. Earlier, the reversal of the flow of life energy occurred, because the amount of life energy he could store in his body had reached its limit. This limit wasn't reached because of the immortal Dr. Doluo's life energy. Her life energy only acted as a guide that guided his own life energy. After that, his body was completely nourished by that pure life energy. Wang Xiana was silently in awe. Every individual indeed had his own break. If all this life energy belonged to her, she believed that she could possibly become an ultimate Doluo in the future. To her, pure life energy could be directly turned into soul power. However, such pure life energy could only serve to increase the life energy in his own body. The immortal Dr. Doluo absorbed the remaining life energy in the air into her body. She couldn't possibly waste it. To her, she had reaped massive rewards today. In just this short period of time, she felt as if the bottleneck that had been frustrating her for so long could possibly be broken through. The door from rank 95 to rank 96 seemed to be slowly opening. The green light started to slowly retract, and the mountaintop started to become peaceful once again. Huo Yuhao had regained some rosiness in his cheeks by now. Wang Xiana was shocked when she discovered that Huo Yuhao's damaged passageways were filled with life energy. This meant that the pure life energy was entering his passageways and aiding in their recovery. Huo Yuhao's blood started to circulate once again inside these healed passageways. Even the immortal Dr. Doluo was shocked by a scene like this. It was too magical. "Elder, how is it?" Shu Sanxia asked softly. The immortal Dr. Doluo replied, "All right, he's fine now. However, he needs some time to recuperate. Please take him back first." As she spoke, she mimicked a pressing action toward Huo Yuhao, and streaks of gentle green light turned into strips before surrounding his body. They lifted him up without moving his body at all. Wang Xiana turned to the White Tiger Duke and said, "Duke, I'll bring him back first and observe him for a period of time. His condition is a little special. However, overall, he should be fine." "All right, I shall count on you then," the White Tiger Duke said respectfully. At this moment, the situation here at the Mingdo mountain range was already set in stone. The Sun Moon Empire hadn't stationed many troops here. When the Death God Pagoda left, it meant that their defense here had already failed. This time, the Sun Moon Empire had left behind many soul tools even though they didn't lose too many soul engineers. To the Star Luo Empire, this was already a success. Those from Shrek Academy didn't stay further either. They followed the immortal Dr. Doluo and proceeded in the direction of the Northwestern Field Army's base. Everything that had happened tonight was indeed very astonishing. However, the rest only witnessed what had happened in the latter half of the night. Only Tang Wutong clearly saw what had happened in the earlier half of the night. Her eyes shone a little as she saw Huo Yuhao engulfed by the green light. She looked very perplexed, and her thoughts were unknown. Very soon, all of them returned to the base. Wang Xiana sent Huo Yuhao back to his tent and performed another check on him. After that, she instructed everyone not to move him and let him recuperate. He should be able to recover very soon. After relaying her instructions, she reverted to her elderly appearance and left. She was also rushing back to attempt to evolve her own soul power and try to raise it to rank 96. Everyone from Shrek Academy surrounded Huo Yuhao's bedside. At this moment, they all heaved a sigh of relief. They had finally reclaimed control of the Mingdo mountain range, which completely changed the situation in the entire continent. They had basically completed their mission. As for how the Star Luo Empire would deal with the Sun Moon Empire from now on, that was a problem that the White Tiger Duke had to deal with. To them, the most important thing was knowing when Huo Yuhao would be able to fully recover. After a brief moment, Shu Sanxia said, "All right, everyone must be tired after moving around the entire night. Let's do it this way, we'll take turns to watch over Yuhao. Girls are more meticulous. Guy, I'll assign you this role first, and you'll watch over him until daybreak. Chio will take over after you. We'll decide the roster after that. Guy, remain here. As for the others, go back and rest." Huo Yuhao was unconscious, thus Shu Sanxia took over his role as the leader. Everyone nodded. Yi Gai was even a little thankful as she looked at Shu Sanxia. There was a weird look in Tang Wutong's eyes. She looked at Yi Gai before glancing at Huo Yuhao. After this, she turned around and left the tent. Watching her back, Shusansha revealed a cheeky smile on his face. At times, it might not be a good thing to hasten things. Using some other method might actually yield more effective results. Even though Shusansha wasn't sure whether Tang Wutong was Wang Donga, at least he knew that she looked very alike to Wang Donga. This was something that couldn't be pretended. If Wang Donga had really gotten into a mishap, Tang Wutong might possibly become Huo Yuhao's new confidant in the future. This was why he was trying to stimulate the relationship between the two of them. Everyone left the tent, and only Yi Gai remained. As she looked at Huo Yuhao, she couldn't help but sigh to herself. Yuhao, get better quickly. I know that you've never liked me before, and you'll never ever like me. However, I feel very happy to have an opportunity to be alone with you and take care of you. Don't you think I'm very foolish? After laughing, Yi Gai stood up and walked to one side. She carried a basin to Huo Yuhao's side and used a clean towel to wipe the bloodstains off his face. She didn't dare to change his clothes, as she was afraid that it would affect his recovery. However, it should be fine for her to gently wipe him down. Amidst her gentle movements, the bloodstains on Huo Yuhao's face were quickly wiped off. He looked a little sallow, as if it was because he had lost too much blood. However, his life aura was very strong. Yi Gai lifted her hand and wanted to touch his face. However, her palm remained above his face. She never touched him. Nemesis. You are really my nemesis. She sighed before retracting her hand. After this, she quietly sat beside him and looked at him. Outside the tent, a pair of beautiful eyes moved away from the window. Tang Wutong was standing there, and silently heaved a sigh of relief. When she left the tent earlier, she kept on telling herself that nothing would happen between Huo Yuhao and Yi Gai, given that he was already in such a state. However, she wasn't able to calm herself down after leaving the tent. This was why she silently returned outside the tent and secretly watched from outside. She saw Yi Gai wiping Huo Yuhao's face. An indescribable feeling surged into her heart. She even wanted to charge in. However, she was soon jolted to her senses. Why am I like this? He has nothing to do with me. Why am I so concerned about him? Someone else is treating him so nice. Why am I not happy for him? These thoughts kept on playing in her mind. When she saw Yi Gai lifting her hand and wanting to touch Huo Yuhao's face, she forgot everything again, and wanted to charge into the tent. It was only when Yi Gai put her hand down that she heaved a sigh of relief. This video will end here.